Welcome to the Sage, our journey of adventure. I'm Dr. Jane Esuana, your guide on this journey. It's been truly wonderful, and I've thoroughly enjoyed every episode, every show. I hope you have too. And I'm excited about today's journey, today's topic. One that I love passionately: food. Who doesn't love food? Some of us like eating it, some of us like cooking it or are forced to cook it. But I guess really next to air and water, probably the other most important thing in our lives are the food we eat and we consume. A friend of mine actually literally said once and said, "You are what you eat." And it is true to a large extent. The way you look, the way you feel, the things you can do, the way you grow, the way you think, a lot of it has to do with the food you're eating, the quality and the type. And therefore it deserves attention. And an attention in a way that is absorbing, so that not only do we know it's a requirement, it's something we should enjoy. It's something we should do to the best of our ability. The cooking, the eating, the enjoying, and the thriving that comes from having done it well. Welcome once again to our show on cooking. And so before we go on to the exciting young person I have here with me in the studio, who's going to talk about her own skills in cooking, let me just say that this is something that we as Africans, as Nigerians in particular, can be truly proud of. I know from experience that African cooking, but Nigerian food is the best there is in the world. I have traveled extensively, but each time we're looking, and Nigerians, you will all agree with me, once you're out, you're looking for a place where you can get a Nigerian food, whether it is a egusi or okra or a wedu amala, whatever it is. That is the highlight of your trip. But I remember my years of working internationally too, that I would go on mission. The first thing I did once I stepped back into my house was to rush and warm up some soup and cook up a plate of eba and take it down. We have some of the best food in the world. But something that also we need to reflect on and be proud is the fact that actually research supports the fact that we have pretty good food in this country. A study, let me look at my notes, a study conducted among men and women in 185 countries for a period of 20 years actually found that diets from sub-Saharan Africa, particularly countries like Nigeria, were better than most diets, healthier than most diets in the world. It is true, and it is something we need to be proud of. It is a culture we need to continually improve on. A lot of scientific data, as a doctor I know this myself, has also shown that many of the things that keep you healthy, whether it's the fiber or whether it's the low sugar content, but particularly the natural unprocessed food that is so important to your health, is actually part of our indigenous culture. It is the way we eat. And it's important to retain those bits of our culture and not change to what is theoretically the Western diet. I like to challenge other people across the world, particularly in what we call the West, and say that while they're trying to go back, we are already there. A great deal of our food is not processed. The few that are processed are fermented, indeed, and that improves its nutritional content. So it's about food. And today we have a wonderful young lady with us on the set, on this show, who is into food, who is into healthy ways of making food. Stay with us. I will unveil this today's treasure when we come back. Welcome to the Sage. Treasure, this beautiful young lady is a treasure indeed. Join me as I welcome Jane Esuana to the set. Jane, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Wow. Jane, tell us about yourself.
Okay, you already heard the name, but not completely. There is one I don't like to be removed. That is the avoidoya.
Wow. Thank goodness you didn't make me say that.
So I am Jane Esuana Avoidoya, the CEO of Edoya Elite Integrated Services. Now, from Edoya Elite Integrated Services, you get E-Elite Kitchen. Like Mommy rightly said before I came on board, it is all about food. Not just food, but healthy living. Because there are two things that resonate with food. Is either you eat because you're hungry or you eat for the nutritional aspect. But it will do you a lot of good if you're eating not just because you're healthy, not just because you're hungry, but matching the two together because you want to get nutrition for your body. So what we do in Edoya Elite Kitchen is using natural, which we would call organic ingredients to make different kinds of meals. We do bread. Yes, you just heard me say bread.
Jane, I'm going to interrupt you there and say, I know you love talking about your passion and your product, but before you go on, because I know a little bit of your background, tell us about yourself. Were you born cooking? Did you go to school learning to cook?
Okay, I would say I was born with it. Because right from when I was in primary school, that was when I started having the knowledge of who or what, or if I would say, that was when I could remember the things that I would say I actually did myself. Right from the tender years in primary school, I started assisting in the kitchen because my mom too is a medical practitioner. You know, she would leave for calls and all that. Even as she prepares what we're going to eat, you still find out that people like, you know, myself would want to go into the kitchen just to help to do something because I'm the first daughter of the family, so it just came with it. So growing up, I just grew up literally in the kitchen. Aside from, you know, going out there to study, my other best part of my house is the kitchen.
You said study. What did you study?
Okay, yes, my background, I had my first degree in economics, BSc economics. Then I went ahead for my master's in finance and materials management.
Where is the cooking in it? Don't mind me, go on.
Like I said, it just happened. It just happened because I remember that even when I was now in secondary school, you would have some persons visiting, and my father would say, this person I'm visiting, no, make sure there is something for them to eat. And they just know that they can trust me with the kitchen. And even went further than that, that even before I took it up as a business, some of my cousins that got married, single-handedly, I prepared some of the food that the entire, you know, people that came had.
So at what point did you decide, after my first degree and my second degree, I spent years doing them. At what point did you decide to go into food as a business?
Okay, now, I had a job. Okay, before then, I did some buying and selling, you know, the trading thing, but that was not really me. You know, when you don't want to sit and people think you're lazy, you just want to do something. But I've always wanted something that I could do with my hands, not something that some other person has done. Yes, I appreciate, you know, having to, you know, value chain here and there, but something that really comes from me. something that you would say, this is your signature.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a job, a very good one, you know, one of these international NGOs, you know, like a good figure salary, but you know, when some things happen, they happen. And a lot of us that had the projects then, after the project, because there was no longer funds to finance.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
I will just use one word. When Brexit happened, we had to exit.
Okay. I like that.
When Brexit happened, we
had to exit.
So for some persons that know, you know, the one that the Brexit thing is connected with, so they can have an idea of where I was. So that was it. So after that, I searched a couple of places for, you know, jobs. You know, when you come from like a work environment where I would say the best practice is used, and you're not trying to look for something out there, the ones they're just throwing at you, I knew I wouldn't get fulfilled. So I had to go back and ask myself, what is it that will bring you fulfillment aside from going to sit in the office?
Mm-hmm.
Sit in the office, carry out instructions. What is it that will give you fulfillment? And I remembered there are a lot of things you can do with your hands.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I've always been the one that thinks food and health,
Mm-hmm.
healthy living.
Mm-hmm.
And that was when the passion again came up.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, one thing I would say concerning this is that once an idea leaves the mind, it's already in the market.
I like that.
It's already in the market.
Really?
Yes. You know why? Because now, your startup point is not just in the mind, but it's what you put out there that is visible, not just visible, but beneficial to your focal audience.
Okay.
That is your start-off point.
When they actually see
When
your dream in reality.
Yeah, so that was why I say
Yeah.
once the idea leaves the mind, it's already in the market.
Okay.
So I had to go back, my passion, not just for the eating, not just for feeding people, but making them eat healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think health in everything that I do. Not just because, you know, some of my folks are medical practitioners, but, you know, I think health, even these that I'm putting on now, I think health.
Okay. What is healthy about this beautiful dress?
Yeah. Okay, now, if I wear this dress, is it going to affect me in any way? That is the health. Mm-hmm. If I wear this shoe that I'm wearing, is it going to affect me in any way? So in everything I do, I think health.
Okay.
So that's the kind of value that I put into what I put out there. Health. Not just because someone is hungry, but the nutritional aspect. The nutritional aspect. So in Edoya Elite Kitchen, which, like I said, you know, after that Brexit happened, I went back to the drawing board after searching a couple of places as it is, no job, the ones that are coming, you know, people wanting you to cut corners, which I would say, you know, honestly, and being humble is not part of me.
Okay, we hold it there. That's exciting. And let's keep our audience in suspense. We'll take a short break. And when we come back, Jane will tell us how she has turned her ex-Brexit into concrete health energizing foods that we can hear from her and look forward to. Stay with us. Welcome back. It's been an exciting journey, a truly exciting discovery. We're back to our guest, to lovely Jane, and we're going to tell us what is so special about your brand, what is it that is healthy about it, and therefore where should we be looking for it, what is it you produce, and where can we find you to be a part of it?
Okay, I start with my brand. There's something that the brand designer, cannot take out. So if I cannot take it out, nobody can take it out, which is the healthy aspect. I will continue to, you will continue hearing me say that, the healthy aspect, the health aspect. So how we do this is that everything we use in making what we make in our kitchen is purely natural.
Okay.
Organic.
Okay.
So we have a brand that I would say anyone can fit in or can feed anyone. Because there are some persons who had to deal with health issues, for example. There are those that are not really, in that line of, I'm watching what I eat. But even if you don't want to watch what you eat, you still have to watch what you eat. But there are those specific that have some health challenges. We put that into consideration too. So whatever we make is tailored for them also, or tailored towards them, so that we use specific ingredients that we know will not put them in any danger. So that is one.
Okay.
That is one. So some of these things is, for example, when we bake our bread, we try as much as possible to use less of gluten products.
Okay, so what do you do? How do you substitute?
Okay, how we substitute is, there are some other, aside from flour, you can use wheat, you can use oat, and you have other ingredients which I would not want to give on air. They call, that's
trade secrets.
Secret recipe, like they would say.
Okay.
Secret recipe, but we're very, very conscious when we do what we do in the kitchen, because we don't want to make profit without our conscience being at peace.
Okay.
So we are not only concerned about what you eat, but how you eat it and what it does at the end of the day. So these are the values we bring into our food. So we make bread.
Okay.
We do cakes.
Okay.
We do pancakes. We do the one you call small chops. We do chin chin. We do a whole lot in our kitchen. That is what we call it.
How can one make chin chin healthy?
Yes. You can do eggless chin chin without egg. You should try a recipe.
Okay.
So these are some of the things that we do, aside from the other meals that you can call us or walk into our place and have a healthy meal. And another thing that we have added, knowing that we do bread and people can walk in and have breakfast, is the 3-in-1 choco drink. We produce that ourselves, from the cocoa bean to the powder and to the end product. And we have our vanilla custard also with our peanuts. All this comes from our kitchen. I'm sorry, I should have had, it's just the way the thing was set up. I would have at least brought some for you to have.
You owe us. You have yes, you have to come back on the show and bring some of your products.
I owe you. So those are some of the things we do in our kitchen.
Okay, that's very interesting. Tell us a little bit more about the structure. So it's a business, and I assume it's thriving. You're making profit. So tell us, how is it what kind of setup do you have, and so on and so forth? How did you learn the management skills to do what you're doing? Because business is not just about having a passion and going out. You need to have done some calculation. Will it yield a profit? Tell us a little bit more concretely about that.
Okay. Yeah. I'll be very honest with you. There's something about business that even if you have all the money in the world and you don't have a good structure, you just haven't started.
Okay.
You just haven't started. So even when you go through the classroom, and like I mentioned, for my master's, I had finance and material management. That was my angle for my master's. But setting up a business is a different thing.
A different kettle of fish. Right?
Yes, exactly. Because now you have to actually put it into practice.
Yeah.
Let's see whether that thing you actually saw in the book will give you the same result like they said. So when we were trying to set up here and there, we had all these ideas in our head. We want to build our factory here. We want to set up our shop here. We need this, we need that, we need that. And by the time we drew budget, the figures kept going like this.
They kept climbing.
And where is the money? Who is even willing to give you? Even the little that you have that you want to start with is not even going to do that which you think you already have in the paper. But it's good to have that in the paper. So how do we start? That was how we came in contact with C4C. So coming in contact with C4C, I learned a whole lot. That with that which you have and a little support, you can start from somewhere and get to that destination you actually want to get to. Because at the end of the day, for someone that is ready, whatever is available will be able to take you up. But when you are not ready, even if it's available, you are not going to be able to make use of it.
Okay.
So it was as though opportunity met preparedness.
Okay. I love your cliches you use.
I'm a writer.
Okay. We'll come to that. That's interesting. We'll come to that.
So I had this capacity building with C4C, different classes, different people. I would say like they got very, very good, not just hands, brains to come teach us on different things, from the financial aspect to the HR, because even me that thought I had an HR advanced course, with where I was initially, it was a different thing for me. I must say I learned a lot. So those really came out before the setting up. So I was actually very happy that I had not fully settled before I met C4C, because I would have, a lot of things that would have, been the obvious potholes that I know that I would have fallen in. I know I would have been regretting at that point. But meeting them, they were able to tell us, okay, yes, the potholes will still happen. Don't be scared, but this is how you can navigate. So I learned a lot from the managerial skills, administration, to the finance, to even budgeting that I think I used to do before. Mm-hmm. To even budgeting that I think I used to do before. Then there were so many things like the aspect of technology that came out for me. So that really helped in the setting up.
I mean, I could talk forever with Jane, but we'll take a break. When we come back, we're going to the last segment, and I'm going to ask her challenging questions to wind up the show. Stay with us. Welcome back. It's been really, really exciting talking to our lovely Jane. I'm more inspired to try and eat well, and I must find where you are and eat some of your healthy bread. But just before we wind up, let me ask you, have there been challenges, very briefly, so that we don't go away thinking it's all rosy and easy? Yeah, what are been the major challenges?
Yes, there have been challenges. I wouldn't lie. Just one worry about setting up was when the whole world had to be locked down. COVID.
Okay.
So by the time...
Our famous 2020.
Yeah, so by the time they opened the doors, prices of equipment just went up. Prices of raw materials went up. Mm-hmm. So that has been one major challenge. And the second one was, I mentioned to someone before that there is a way the business atmosphere is in this country. It could be like that in other countries, but I don't know. You find out that when some persons actually know that you need this space, they've already calculated what you're going to be getting from it. They can get greedy. The place we initially wanted to set up, we had a case of the landlord saying we should pay for 5 years straight rent.
Oh, wow.
5 years straight. 5 years straight. And it wasn't, when I calculated the money, I asked him, I said, if I have this money to pay for 5 years straight, I won't come here.
You go and hire a hotel.
I will buy the place. I won't come here. So that was a major challenge, because we had a feasibility study before in the area we wanted to carry it out like that. So we had to go back to the drawing board.
Okay.
To start looking for, a place that we know will still be good for business, but we'll be able to afford with what we have. So
okay, that is the life story of every business. But it's good to know you were able to find your way around it. And as we wind up, can I just ask you to please, what would you say to other young people like yourself out there? What would be your last words of advice to them?
Okay, to everyone listening to me, not just the young people, even the ones that are still very energetic and needs to do something. There are a lot of things that you can do. I mentioned before, and this will be my closing words too, that don't just let that idea stay in the mind, because it is when it is in the market that it will give you that which you'll be able to sustain yourself, because God will not just bless the thought in your heart, but will bless the work of your hands. Do something.
I couldn't have asked for a better closing. Thank you, my dear. That is truly, it's so true, but also so inspiring. And so to the many, many other people there who are thinking about what to do, if you have the drive, if you have the passion, if you are young and really want to try your hand at it and you like cooking, please do what Jane has done. Go into the food business. Produce healthy food. Let's move forward. Let's show the world how it's done. We thank you and looking forward to being with you next time.